All right, we are doing it live. Welcome to the very first episode of the Hands on Tools podcast, the show created to promote my customers' business while having fun doing it. We are live tonight on Facebook, X, also known as Twitter, and YouTube. Please follow and hit the subscribe button for the show so you can get notified of future episodes. Comments are always welcome. Interactions are great. The comment feed is on, so I will see most of your comments. If you're on Facebook, for some reason, Facebook, I can't see the live comments. So if you'd like to interact with the show, go ahead and hop over to the YouTube channel. You can find me on YouTube just by typing in Hands on Tools, Jason Hand Snap on. Either of those two searches should pop up. So welcome to the show. I have a very special guest joining me tonight. I call him a friend. He's also a customer. My name's Jason Ham, by the way. Let me go ahead and do that intro first. I'm the owner of Hands On Tools. I'm also a Snap-on franchisee, and being with Snap-on, you have a lot of windshield time. And I was driving down the road one day, and the idea came upon me to start a podcast. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do that was to have my customers on different shows so that way we can promote their business, and also so I can get to know my customers just a little bit better, because when I'm out there on the route, I get about 5 to 7 minutes with my customers, so it's just not a lot of time. So I thought this would be a fun way to interact with my customers and get to know them a little better while at the same time promoting their businesses. So tonight I have with me in the waiting room is Chris with MAP, Mobile Automotive Performance. Let's go ahead and bring him on the show. Chris, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Love to be here.
Now, it is great to have you, man. This might be the first and last show, Chris. I'm not really sure. This could be the first of many. I don't know. We'll just go ahead and see. But tonight we're going to have some fun.
I don't feel this being your last show.
Yeah.
Not everything kicks off with a bang anyway. You know what I mean?
No, that's right. That's right. We're going to have some fun tonight. Before we get into everything, man, let's get into our beverage of choice. Chris, I'm going to have you do the honors, man. What are you drinking tonight?
Australia Mexican beer. Before the tariffs hit, I had to get my beer in.
Man, you got in at the 11th hour, bro. Because tonight, I think at midnight, right? Tariffs are on. So good job out of you by stocking up before that hit.
That's right. Had to do something. I didn't go out and buy the avocados, though.
Yes. Hey, we got our first comment. Little Storm, let's go, Map. Is that your boy?
Yeah, that's Hunter.
There you go. What's going on, Hunter? All right, and my beverage of choice, it's my all-time favorite, and that's just good old-fashioned Busch Light. So made right here in the USA, can't go wrong with that. Yeah, a lot of people say it tastes like water, but I like it. It's a good beverage for me. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into it, Chris. Now, we met in a what I would say an unconventional way. I do have a list of customers, and I see them the same time at the same shops every week. But you, sir, we met a little bit different. I forget even what stop I was at, and all of a sudden I hear a knock on the door, and there you are, Mr. Crowley. Why don't we talk about that? How we met, man?
All right. You were at the corner of Witch Duck and Jacqueline there. What's the name of that car lot right there? Right behind 7-Eleven. You were there, and I had a few tools that I needed warranted, and I was looking for something else in particular, specialty tool, that particular afternoon. And so I knocked on your door. I saw the truck, and I just happened to have a one wrench or something with me. And then I was looking for a specialty tool, and you're like, "No, I don't have that, but I can order it." I'm like, "All right, cool." But at the time, I don't believe you had a lot of specialty stuff on your truck at that point in time. I think you were just a few months into it or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it just started off, because I'm mobile. So I don't really have a stationary shop for the tool trucks to come to and visit. You actually make a special exception for me, and I work my schedule around that just for you. so that I can stay on the up and up on everything, and make sure I don't have to go to Harbor Freight and buy no junk tools.
Yeah, man. My memory, if my memory serves me correct, I think you might have had a dead blow hammer
That was one
that
of them.
you
Yes.
needed warrantied out, and you had a bunch of tools. I guess you hadn't seen a Snap-on guy for quite some time,
It's been
and
a minute.
I think I had to order the dead blow hammer because, like as you said, I was new and I really didn't have much as far as inventory wise. But we got that dead blow hammer ordered and we exchanged information. And I think for the first couple months, man, we just met at one of my stops. And
Correct.
one day, you know, I said, "Hey, man, where do you live, dude?" And you told me it was right around the corner. And ever since then, man, I've been coming to see you guys, you know, to warranty your tools and you know,
To let me know
repair
what's
tools
smooth,
and
snappy.
yes. So I guess let that be a lesson for myself and maybe other tool guys out there. You don't always have to have just customers that are on your list of calls. You know, you might meet a guy that calls you from maybe the number on the side of your truck, and you know, just because they're not on your list of calls and just because they need to just warranty a ratchet, we should definitely do that because hey, we're Snap-on, and doesn't matter how long ago you bought it or who you bought it from. If you have a tool that's broken, I feel like it's my duty to get that fixed for you. And that's kind of how our relationship started. And man, I
100%.
consider you a friend too, not just a customer.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
Yeah.
You
So
did me a solid and taking care of me, and then you've been doing me a solid every single week since the day we met.
yeah,
So
no doubt, man. And I've gotten to know your team. I think the first guy I met was Nate, and
yep, yep.
and then after maybe a couple months, I met your son Hunter, which you know he now does some work for you. So why don't we start, man? Tell us about your team over at MAP.
All right. So Nate Widgeon, he is a distant cousin of mine as well. Um, the Widgeon line is actually where it stemmed from for me turning wrenches. Um, so it's kind of like in our blood. But I ran into Nate. He had some work that needed to be done on the car. He didn't really know nothing about it. Nobody in his side of the family taught him anything about none of that. And so I did some work for him, and then it just so happened I needed an extra hand pulling a transmission. And I asked him if he wanted to work on the weekend and give me a hand, and he greatly appreciated me asking him. He wanted to learn more about the automotive industry and not have to pay somebody to do his repairs. So about 6 years ago, he helped me out one Sunday afternoon, and pretty much quit his job after that, and he's been working for me ever since. He's come a long way. I think he's bought a couple boxes off of you. I think 2 months in a row. I think he switched boxes, kind of like he did his tennis shoes or something. But hey, it helps you out in the bottom line as far as that's concerned. But no, Nate's come a long way. My son Hunter, we homeschool him. He's doing extremely well in that, and he also was into the turning wrench scene. Started off with his bike and stuff, but he got into wanting to race tough trucks, mud truck. And so I told him, I was, look, if that's what you're going to do, you're going to need to learn how to work on them. I'm not always going to be able to be there for you. And you're going to need to be able to do what you need to do to be able to keep going. So we homeschool him in the evening times, and he works for me during the day. And he's coming along quite nicely as well.
Yeah, Chris, you have an amazing team. You know, Nate, I just really think highly of him. You know, and then your son Hunter. Let's see, I think it was maybe 3 months ago. He actually opened up a truck account, right? And was he? I think he's 15 years
He'll
old, and
be
he opened up
15
a
in a
truck
couple.
account.
He'll
I
be
think his
15 in a
first,
couple.
I think his first purchase was a 3/8 ratchet, if I remember right.
Yeah, that, and don't forget about the beef jerky.
The beef. Oh yes, I think half of his tool bill is chicken teriyaki. So I always make sure that I keep that for him. And what is Nate like? He likes the honey roasted
Honey roasted
cashew.
cashews. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I keep
I
those on
keep
the
telling
truck.
him, I'm like, what'd you get on the truck today? Oh, some food. I'm like, we go to lunch every day. I don't feed you guys enough.
Let me tell you something. If you give Nate some honey roasted cashews and some Snap-on flip flops, he's the happy camper.
This is true. You're not lying there.
Yeah. Well, all right. So we've kind of learned a little bit about your team, Chris. Let's get into MAP, which stands for Mobile Automotive Performance. You run your business, I would say a little unconventional, but I think it's kind of cool, man. I mean, you're actually a mobile mechanic, and you go out to where your customers are at, whether it be broke down on the side of the road, which I'm sure happens, maybe at their residence or place of business. Why don't we go into MAP and all the services you provide and anything else you want to share?
All right. Well, I started MAP probably about 22 roughly years ago. It took off a little bit and then slowed down, just like every new business. It has its ups and downs until you build clientele and customers. And basically, all of me myself has been all word of mouth. And started out with a name. I'll tell you a little bit about the name MAP. So back in the old days, every car, when you got in, take a trip, you always got out a road map, MAP, map. So I'm like, well, we're mobile and we fix automobiles and we give you the best performance possible. So mobile automotive performance, here we go. And every vehicle has to have a map. Today is a GPS in your car. It's still a map, but it's still proven. And here we are, still strong today, going, helping you either at your home while you're got a bunch of laundry to do. You get, you're babysitting kids or whatever. Your kids are off to school, and you're watching soap operas. Knock on the door, get your keys, take care of your issue, hand your keys back, get paid, and roll out. Go to the next job. Call me in the morning, or we set up a schedule. You got something minor that needs to be done. You don't want to be interrupted to have to drop your car off somewhere, then get a ride to work, and then get a ride back to pay your bill and pick up your car. I'll come right to the office and take care of what I need to take care of right there and get you on your way. You don't have to be bothered at work. So you don't miss no work time. You don't miss no home time. You don't miss any babysitting time. It's all right there done for you.
So, all right. So I know there's different scopes of work that people need, sometimes minor, sometimes major. I would assume that the major work, you have to bring all your tools with it. How you getting your tools there, man?
All right. So I have a 30-foot enclosed car trailer that I have my full blown shop in. You've been on the trailer before. It's pretty set up. There's pretty much nothing I really can't do out on the road. I mean, from U-joints, dry shaft work, anything, bushings, generic automotive repair, tune-ups, stuff like that, brake jobs. I usually will take bigger jobs on, and I'll take them somewhere else, like motor jobs or something of that nature. But at least you'll know what you're up with when I go out to you. If your motor is done, and something of that nature, your timing belt is broken, bent valves, you know what you got to deal with. So we address that situation accordingly upon each issue. It'll all go a little differently depending on what the customer wants to do with their vehicle, more or less. I mean, it's kind of how that rolls down. But I got a full blown rolling shop, big old black trailer. I pull behind my blue truck.
Yeah, man. I just think that's really cool, actually, because I've thought about that. In the Snap-on truck. Let's say that I'm on the interstate and I'm heading to the route, or maybe I'm heading home, and all of a sudden my truck breaks down on the side of the road. It kind of goes to your mind. Okay, what would I do in that situation? Now, I've got a handful of customers that I know I can call at any time, and they would answer the phone. And they may not be able to help me right away, but they would answer the phone, and we can kind of, get a plan together. But with you, I know that if I have an issue on the truck, I can call you, and man, you can get in your trailer. All the tools are already in there, and you can meet me right wherever I'm at. And that's actually a pretty cool service, man.
Well, thank you.
That's a pretty cool service, So that's kind of it's kind of a lesson that when you think of a business model, sometimes thinking outside the box, you know, can work out in your advantage. And I can tell when you made your business model that you've done that. So,
Well, my slogan is this: why call a tow when your mechanic is on the go? That's the slogan.
what's the biggest job you've ever done on the side of the road?
On the side of the road, that would have to be um had a customer that had a harmonic balancer come off the rubber. So the belt slung, but it didn't come completely off. But it threw the battery light on. The car cut off for a split second. They called us. We came out. Now we're on the side of 64 on the interstate with trucks and everything just zooming by. It's shaking the trailer. I'm in there. Lord, please don't let nobody run off and hit us. Um, quickly addressed the situation. What I did was I rerouted the belt a little bit differently to make it shorter, just enough to get the car started and get them off the next exit so we can get to an empty parking lot. And I was able to repair, put a new balancer on, new belt, and get them on their way from there. But yeah, that's probably the biggest / hairiest. I mean, I've done alternators and stuff like that, but I usually try to, if they're on the side of the road, I try to get a band-aid on it and get them moved so that I'm not putting them or myself or my guys in danger.
Right on. And are you 24/7? Can somebody call you at 3 in the
I
morning
used to
or?
be 24/7. I did.
Okay.
The problem with that is they answer the phone at all hours of the night, and you end up you work more than you actually make. So unfortunately, I have narrowed it down to a 9 to 5 style outcome. But if somebody did happen to call me and they're on the side of the road, I would usually pop out there and try to help them out.
Right on. Well, as a reminder, we are live on Facebook and YouTube and X. So comments are definitely welcome. If you're on Facebook, I can't really see your comments. So if you'd like to comment on the show, go ahead and hop over to YouTube. Chris, I don't know if you're on Facebook, if we have any comments, but so far we have Hunter. You know, he's saying, let's go map. And I agree with him, man. Let's go map. So let's get into the second part of this, and that's our featured tool of the week. And I've asked you to come up with your favorite snap-on tool. And I really don't have a favorite, but I do have a featured tool of the week. And I'm going to go ahead and let you go first since you're the guest of honor.
Not a problem. You did mention that you were going to ask me that, and I gave it quite a bit of thought. In fact, I even pulled open my toolbox drawers, all of them today. For about an hour, I scratched my head and I said, as far as my favorite snap-on tool, I love all their tools. When they split or break, and that's very seldom, they usually wear out before they usually break. And you replace them, So I have to go with, they're all my favorite tools, but I've had a toolbox now for about 30 plus years. And that box is probably my favorite thing. Most mechanics, when they get their box, that's like their pride and joy, their baby. Most of us, it's a mortgage payment in the very beginning, so that's probably going to be hands down. My favorite thing would be my box, to be honest. And I couldn't bring that in here. It's mounted in my trailer, bolted to the wall. And it's a fact. The funniest thing is, you're talking about the trailer earlier. I had to actually reinforce from joist to joist inside my trailer where my box sits, because it's so damn heavy, it started bowing the floor down. So we had to jack up the floor and weld in some beams in there where the box sits, so it would make it a little more rigid.
Yeah. So, yeah. It definitely is the sight. If you guys can picture an enclosed trailer, and he has a little room as you walk in the door, but then you go through this other little door, and there's his tool room, and he has his toolbox secured nicely to the wall. And we actually made some measurements a couple weeks ago. We might go ahead and we might be getting you a riser It'll fit in there nicely, and I think it'll give you a lot more room to store even more tools. And if you want to
Yes.
put your laptop in there, so it's not flopping around when you're driving down the road.
100%. I got this little cabin above it now that has my printer and my laptop, and all stays in there along with my printer paper and stuff. And sometimes I'll open that door and they're all just right there ready to pop out at me. So yeah, a riser and some organization in there is definitely in the near future for that box.
Yeah. Well, before I get into my featured tool of the week, I want to share a story. I think it's okay that I share this, but sometimes when I'm feeling overwhelmed in this business, and I'll tell you that I have less days now where I'm overwhelmed as when I first started. One of your workers, Nate, sent me a message on Facebook, and it was at the perfect time because it renewed my spirit in this business. But I don't remember it word for word, but he just kind of wanted to thank me for coming by and servicing your shop week to week, because he said, as you said earlier, he's been working with you for a long time now, and he said your attitude in the business is now a lot better since you've been using Snap-on tools. He said that because you're using quality tools now, your spirit has kind of been renewed in this business, because before I was coming around, you were working with cheaper tools. They're always breaking. You're always getting frustrated. And now we're putting Snap-on tools in your hands, and your days are more enjoyable. So I really appreciated Nate sharing that story with me, and I wanted to share that tonight.
Yeah, right on. I mean, it's 100% correct. I mean, I had Snap-on tools before, but I needed some of them warrantied out, this and that. And on certain tools, when you're out on the road, the quickest nearest thing, there's a Harbor Freight, on one end and the other end, Norfolk, Virginia Beach. There's one Elizabeth City. I mean, so there's Harbor Freight usually pretty close to wherever, and they got a lot of different tools in there, but their tools just don't last. And you're out on the job and you've already used this tool once. Let's just say the power steering pulley set, for example, prime example. I must have had 20 of them that I have purchased, and every one of them had a stripped or broken part in it that I had to keep switching crap around in just to make a good set. And excuse me, that's like one of those things, like you go out on the job and it's like, man, this thing just failed on me again. So then you had to pack stuff up, go find a right tool for somewhere. Yeah, you can go to somewhere to got Lena tools. They'll rent you tools here and there, the Advance or wherever, but it's not the same as having that quality Snap-on tool. And it's been a whole lot easier on me that we've become friends, and you do come by and service us, and I'm able to up my arsenal without having junk stuff laying around. And I haven't
Yeah,
had that issue since you've been around. So
right on,
I
man.
do
Then,
appreciate you 100%.
dude, and that's the beauty of this business, because I realize that I'm not the only show in town, right? I mean,
Nice
there's
shirt, by
other
the way.
tool companies, there's other tool trucks, there's uh, brick and mortar stores. And if you know me well enough, and even if you don't know me well enough, you will never see me bashing another tool company because they have found their place in the market. Well, I'm just trying to find my place in the market as a small business owner. Like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm a Snap-on franchisee. I'm new to this industry. And one of the things that I really appreciate is that you guys have welcomed me with open arms in this business. And I thrive on making sure that you guys have everything you need, warranting your tools, making sure I have my truck stocked with inventory. Like, I thrive on that. And you guys motivate the heck out of me to make sure that happens. So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your team. I hope that you have continued success, as I know you will. I think your business model is awesome. At the end of the show, if you want to give yourself a plug, maybe how the local folks can get a hold of MAP, so that way, if they ever need your services, they might be stuck on the road, they know how to get a hold of you. So,
Not a problem.
all right, let me get into my featured tool of the week, Chris. And this is a very simple tool, But there's a lot going on with this tool, and I'm going to explain. And that's the screwdriver, the snap-on screwdriver. And this is a very basic tool. I mean, it's a screwdriver, right? I mean, how simple is that? But with a snap-on screwdriver, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of features to this, and I happen to know that you took advantage of one of my screwdriver sets, because I think I'm still selling off the used screwdrivers that you traded in on a new set. But let's talk about the business end of the screwdriver first. And let me see if I can get that in the camera there, if you could see it. The first thing that it has is this vapor blasted tip. I don't know if you guys can see that. See the vapor blasted tip? Well, what that means to you is that you're not going to have a flaking, chrome, and it's going to fit inside the fastener very nicely. So this also has alloy steel, right? Less likely to break. And then if you look here, there's a bolstered hex right there at the tip. Now, I've seen a lot of screwdrivers, but the bolstered hex, I don't see a lot on. And what that does for you is you can put a wrench on it. You can actually put some more turning power on it. So it gives you
I've
the
used
ability.
them when the same thing on that. Some of the rotors, trying to get the bolt out that holds the rotors on the factory rotor.
Mm-hmm.
That way it don't pull out on you.
And by the way, everything here is all lifetime warranty. I know that some people do use this as a pry bar, and I know it happens. I mean, hey, when you're out and you're in the heat of the battle,
names, Nate.
Yeah, Nate, especially. But when you're in the heat of the battle, man, you're just grabbing for something just to get the job done. I know that happens, but this is all lifetime warranty. So if this happens to break, I actually replace this blade right on the truck, and we'll get you back to screwdrivering real soon. All right, let's talk about the handle. The first thing we're going to point out is, of course, it is made in the USA there. And it also has the tip identifier. Well, we can clearly see this is a flathead screwdriver. And what Snap-on has done is they've lined this up. You see how it's facing this way? Well, if you turn this around, guess what? The blade is facing that same way. So if you have this screwdriver up in an engine compartment and you can't see the head, well, you can easily identify where the head of that blade is facing. Also, it has an instinct handle, so this is going to fit in your hand very nicely to give you more turning power. And it also has 3 indents. I don't know if you could see that in the camera. You see an indent right here, an indent right here, and an indent right here. Well, 2 of the indents are the same size. There's a 3rd indent that's a little larger, and it's actually right here. That also lines up with the blade of the screwdriver. So this is my featured tool of the week. It's Snap-on also has I forget what you call it. It's just curved sides is all it is. See how it's not round. So you can lay this on the hood of a truck and it's not going to roll off. It's going to stay.
A lot of guys call them the soft grip.
The soft grip, yes. So that's my featured tool of the week. This is funny, Chris. So we sell them individually, and then we also sell them in sets. Well, here's the set right here. Snap-on has started including 2 pry bars with it. I just thought that was funny when I saw that.
This is a pry bar.
Yeah, they're like, here's your pry bar, boys, and then these are your screwdrivers. So I always have multiple sets of these on the truck. As you mentioned, these are soft grip screwdrivers. Well, recently, Snap-on has come out with the hard handle screwdrivers. They had these out a long time ago. Well, they brought them back. So these have been very popular on the truck as well. So we also have hard handle screwdrivers. And I'm always setting promotions on the truck with screwdrivers. And I know I'm not going to really get into the promotions because every Snap-on franchisee has their own different deals, but they usually do promotions on screwdrivers. And I'm going to let your Snap-on dealer tell you what kind of promo that they have. But as you said earlier, I was taking trades in on on old screwdrivers. I didn't really care what the blade looked like, or if it was broken. My point was I just wanted to get everybody into a Snap-on screwdriver. So,
and I do believe that my screwdriver drawer is pretty in red all the way across with every screwdriver you can think of.
that's right. That's right. So, and your son Hunter, he's in a Snap-on ratchet. Maybe that's the next thing we ought to get him into, is a Snap-on screwdriver.
There you go. He's got a pink set of screwdrivers.
Once he's done paying his chicken teriyaki off, we can maybe get him in a Snap-on screwdriver.
There you go. There you
go. All right. Well, I do want to keep these, to about 30 minutes, and we just crossed that point. So Chris, why don't you tell the audience where they can get a hold of you, man, with MAP, Mobile Automotive Performance?
Well, you can check us out on Facebook. If you just put in the thing MAP, we're the first thing that pops up. I do believe we're still on Google as the first one that pops up if you type in mobile mechanic. Or you can call it 757-646-4388. You're going to get a voicemail, leave a voicemail, or you may text me on that same number and directly to me. So it comes right to me, and I'll be the one returning your call and setting everything up for you. And most likely it'll be me coming in to see you at wherever you choose, wherever you're broke down at or you have an issue at.
That's interesting what you just said, man, because all right, so I've always been on the other side. When I say that, being a customer, getting my car worked on, I never met the mechanic. You always meet the service rider,
Right.
and then you sit in a little waiting room and you wait on your car or vehicle to be fixed. Well, what's interesting is you deal with the customer in all phases of the game. When it starts with just answering the phone, you present the quote, you're the service rider, you're the mechanic, you're all those things. So, man, kudos to you, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. I prefer to have a smaller organization so that we can be more personal with the customer and explain things exactly who they are. So they're not secondhand coming from someone else. Because I've been in shops before where the interpretation between the mechanic and the service rider, he says one thing and the service rider don't actually understand because they may or may not have turned a wrench before. And there's a lot of things that can get lost in that interpretation of exactly what's going on with the vehicle or what is potentially wrong with the vehicle, or what may need to be done with it next. So that being said, seeing that side of it, I said, I don't want my customers being misled or thinking that someone's taking advantage of them. You deal directly with me 99% of the time. Nate does deal with customers when I have to go to fetch parts or this or that from time to time. But we're still a tight knit group, and it's not. There's no lingo lost in explaining anything to someone.
Yeah, you're all three of you guys are rowing in the same direction. You guys know exactly what the other one's thinking, and so that's good stuff, man. You have a tight, good team.
Thank you.
And Hunter just chimed in. I think he nixed the screwdriver idea, and he's saying the electric ratchet.
That's what he was talking about just the other day. He wants electric ratchet.
There you go. Well, we definitely have promos on the truck for that.
I believe we see you tomorrow. So Hunter, if you're listening, buddy, get your wallet out.
That's it. Get your wallet out, and I'll have my tickets ready for you tomorrow. The pit passes.
There you go.
For the promo Snap-on has going on. So, well, cool. Well, this was the first episode, and I think we're going to do this again. I think we'll do this again. This was a lot of fun. I've learned I thought I knew a lot about your business, but I've learned even more. I hope the audience has done the same. Chris, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And I will definitely see you tomorrow.
Yes, I definitely want to come back on. We got some stuff going on in the summertime that I'm sure the audience would love to hear about. We got a lot of things that's always going on through us and things that we know about that we'd like the 757 just to hear. So
yeah. We didn't even talk about the Gravedigger thing. You got some stuff going on over there with Gravedigger.
Yeah. Down at Dennis Anderson's Muddy Motorsports Park, we sponsor down there, and that's actually where my son will be racing. So He's building a mud truck for this year coming. April 19th will be the first race down there. So everyone, you listening, come down to Dennis Anderson's Muddy Motorsports Park on April 19th, and come down there and have a mudslinging great time, because it's a blast. We always have a great time. We started at 3-4 years ago, roughly. I don't remember exactly the date, but we started out a while back, and we've been hands in ever since, and we enjoy that 100%.
And you guys did a Halloween event there back in October,
yes, we did,
right?
in October. This year was the first time in a long time he did a Halloween thing down at the Diggers Dungeon area, that property there, which is basically right down the street, just on the opposite side of the road from the Muddy Motorsports Park, where we did a Halloween attraction. I was actually the butler, having everybody come into the big haunted. The big attraction was the haunted house. After you walked basically a mile in the woods. I mean, it's a pretty good show. So I do believe he plans on doing it this year also. So everyone, be listening. Be stay tuned for Halloween. If you like your scare on, that's the place to get it done.
Right on. But first, April 19th, that's what you said, right? Is the next
April
event?
19th, the first mud bog at Dennis Anderson's. Yes, sir.
Right on. Be there, be square. Well, this was fun, dude. We're going to end it right here. Thanks for all that tuned in, and we will see you next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.